Hi, welcome to Zion Messages. I'm going to show you guys a little tour of what we have going on around here. I haven't done that in a while. I'm not gonna be the grass videographer though, because I have just my phone and my hand holding it. I don't have like the little thing, the stick to hold it up. So if it's a little shaky, I'm sorry. But I would love to show you guys our goats and our chickens and our bunnies, and just kind of show you around how it's looking. So it's a little bit bright, but there's our chicken house and then our goats and our rabbits. And I'm just really glad to have come this far, and it feels really good to button everything up for the winter. And so my husband was asking me, he's like, you not excited about your animals anymore? And I just kept thinking, no, it's just in the winter I'm not doing as much with them. So here are the rabbits. I've had a lot of trouble with the rabbits. They have been actually my hardest animal, I will say. I did not expect it to be my hardest animal, but they are. And reason being because they are just, I don't know, they get cold and they die, their litters die, and I've had dogs come and get through them and kill some of them before, like I've said, I think. And I've also had stomach issues with them as well, where I fed them something different than what they were supposed to eat for a few days, and it actually kind of affected their stomachs, I think. I could be wrong, but that's kind of what's going on with this one. And sometimes I just feel like there's some adversity with, I don't know which way I should look. Okay, that's better. I feel like there's just some adversity with it, with me trying to do the best I can. And though, I don't know if this will mean something that later on, like, I had to learn and it got me better, because I do feel it like at some point, what we'll do here will be to help us for later times when things get harder. I'm kind of a prepper at heart, so that's my mindset, and I'm hoping that I can get better and learn, so then when I get to that point when we really have to use it, I'll know what to do. Though we had our first bunny barbecue, so that was really my dog. So that was really great to have our first bunny barbecue. I was able to have 2 of our bunnies, and we did the whole slaughtering thing, and we put it up on the skinner and we skinned them and gutted them, and it's kind of a process. It's my first time doing it, and it felt really good to like do that, like really accomplish that. And like I had mentioned before, I wanted to at some point like come out and eat my meal on an upturned bucket in my colony here, and then feel like, yay, I did it. And I just didn't actually eat it out here, so I still need to do that. I made rabbit noodle soup, and that felt really good. We also just did it as a barbecue bunny too, and I feel like bunnies are, and so the overall experience I'll say about it is that it is just harder to get the meat off. Like, chicken breasts are just so much easier to, there's a ton of meat right there, and then the thighs are just so much easier to access. Like, all the parts of it is just easier, whereas rabbits, it's what's the word, like, the meat is just all over on that back. And of course there's the legs, and there are the legs, and there are the front legs. It's just harder, and there's like this whole back flap, and it's a little bit chewier, but not too bad. And especially since they were younger, if I even went a tad younger, they probably would have been even more tender. And that's just when it worked out, when I was able to butcher them. It was about 6 or 7 months and that's when we butchered them, and I did it with my son, and that was really cool to be able to do, and really cool accomplishment. However, it was just 2 bunnies, because I've had a harder time this whole year with rabbits and them dying and getting eaten by animals, and to get to that point where they are that old. And so I'm hoping for this coming year I can have more loads of them, as you can see here. I do have some babies, and then I also have the mamas that like you'll see some of these big ones. Like I think she's my favorite. Her name is actually 6'7", because we try to put just like some nonsense words or phrases or numbers just on their ears so we don't get attached to them. But now that she's a mama, we can kind of become attached, knowing like she's going to be a bit bunny or a doe that we have that has babies continuously, and we will never necessarily want to eat her because now she's like older and her meat won't taste good. And it'll be really nice to just, and I know her specifically, she is so good at taking care of her babies. She took off so much fluff. She has a dewlap, as you can see. She took off so much of her fluff off of her front chest area, where that dewlap is, and she put it in that litter box where she had her litter. And she had about 7 babies. So my kids kind of joked about that she had 6 or 7 babies, you know. And however, there was some water that got into these coolers. So these coolers that we are under these pallets here, we keep them there so that no dogs or other animals or themselves, they can just open the lids of their coolers underneath there, the lids that we can access to. I think I've showed this to you guys before, but yeah, they're just somehow, with any rain or snow melting, it is not accessing, it's not sealing, sorry. And so the water is getting down in there. And so any of that moisture that is getting into there, I have like straw in there. It's making those bunnies get cold and die. And so my husband, even, as you can see, there's a lot of just, you know, tractor tire prints everywhere. My husband did try to lift them up, like scoop these out, lift them up, and even that didn't work. So we know it's a matter of the lid's not sealing. So no matter what, even if it is higher off the ground, something about it isn't sealing, or that these tubes, I don't know if you could see here, I have like a tube from these little buckets to the coolers anyway. So it's I don't know, I'm trying, I'm not an expert, but it does feel so cool to see them all jumping around and happy. And I've learned I really have tried. And so there is one buck running around in here, and then some of these other babies, one of them is probably a buck, and that will be great to have, and I will keep him. There's my dog. He likes to chase around. There he is. He likes to chase around the goats sometimes. So like I was saying, though, we did have 2 bucks in here, but then there's another problem. You can't keep the bucks together. And I thought they'd be fine, but once one doe starts having babies, then they all start to freak out. And because it's territory, like the bucks don't want to get along. So I had to put another buck, as you can see, in this cage right here. And his neck got kind of twisted from their fights, and that happened for a day or 2. And I realized, okay, this would be not humane if I kept him out and about while he's getting like bullied by this other buck. So I put him in here to try and get him better, and hopefully his neck would recorrect. And so we had to feed him individually, and that's a hard thing, is like he doesn't get to go play around, and he doesn't get to access the normal food of the rest of them do. It's just that he has to have his own access. I should just come in here, have you guys see them if they don't run away. Sometimes they do. But so yeah, it's, as I'll show you right here, I still probably will have one of these bucks then always being here permanently, because I always want a backup buck. And I'll get back to this. There's another reason what has happened, and reason why I believe in backup bucks and animals. And here's one of the cool bunnies. Oh, there he goes. I don't have the greatest videography, I promise. I'm not gonna hurt you. Look how chunky they are. Look at you guys. You guys are the best. Look how chunky. Yeah. And they have the creepy red eyes, I know. But these are New Zealand rabbits, so they're supposed to be like the huge, big meat makers if you are gonna do rabbits. So yeah, they're so cool. I think that one has a tattoo. I think you can kind of see. Oh yeah, that's 6'7". I like you. Don't run away from me, but she's such a good mama. So anyway, that's the rabbits. As I will explain now, pardon my shaky videography. I had one of my goats die, and that was kind of sad. But people tell me out here and tell me in general, goats just die. And that's what happened, is he just randomly died. He was one of our bucks. He was actually the main buck I wanted to breed with, which was kind of a bummer. And I could have, because he only died a week ago. And I was supposed to breed this last month, but as I'll explain more, we started breeding today. So I had them, I have two separate pastures, as you could tell. There's, that pasture and then this pasture. See, there's this wall right here between them, and I even have some chicken wire blocking it because they can breed in between fences. So I want to choose when they breed, not when they do want to. And I've even heard they can figure that out and do that. So I found my doe, or my buck, in here, and he was just dead. One morning my son comes out to me and says, "Sorry mom, I have bad news, but one of the goat guys are dead." His name is Rhaegar. Kind of a cool name, and he was pretty cool. And he was older though, so I got him at it for a better price. Goats aren't really that expensive comparative to, you know, a lot of other animals, like larger animals like cows and horses and stuff. But he was registered, and I did want to invest a little bit into a registered one, so I can kind of play around with this whole idea of, when they are registered, do they really produce more milk? I don't know. I'm not going to be milking, as I have decided. I'm only going to be milking because it's just way too much work. I'm only going to be milking if it's a proper necessity. But it would be cool to see how much milk I'd get out of a mama who is fully registered from a dad that was then registered versus one that wasn't. So here's my other buck guy, which, by the way, I just don't know how he died. He just was old. He just died. Maybe he, I don't know. Okay, what was my reason? I think maybe he ate a little too much corn. I don't know. We gave him a treat. So they're a little bit noisy right now because I just put, I know you're mad at him. So this is Dugan. I know you want to tell me all your problems. Why is that guy being so mean to you? Man, he's such a weirdo. He's just chasing you around. She's got the prettiest eyes. She's just such a pretty goat. Like, I just love her. I know. Look, there he is. He's such a creeper. He wants to mate with you. He's so funny. The drama. And he might make his little funny faces. So when they mate, the things to attract them are just so funny. Like, they want to hey dude, they like sneeze at them. They'll go blah, blah, blah at them. If you ever see those videos online, it's probably because they're just trying to do their little mating little thing, and they'll sniff them. They just do funny things. So I put him in here today. That's why they're acting a little fussy and not happy. And it's been funny for us. And I just know, okay, I shouldn't laugh, but that's the whole reason I have you guys. You got to do your job. And and this is the Lorelei. I didn't tell you the name. So this is Lorelei, and she's so pretty. She was my goat that I got, my first goat that I got. And she was in milk, actually, when I got her. And it was really cool. And I have a milking stand. You can kind of see it right there. And, but I didn't try to milk her consistently. I could have, and that's the perfect timing to it, is I got her plus her babies, and her babies were a little older. So the person that had her just told me, she's so noisy, this other one. So, she told me that, hey, you can keep any of these babies, or you can give them away, and you can then milk after they are done. And that's the whole point, is that you can just milk her for a long time after she's been in milk for her babies. And she gave great milk. And I don't know if I've explained it here. It's been a long time since I've shown you guys anything, but this milk, I'll show you the milking stand. But this milk was so mild. I really could not taste a hint of goat in it. I really couldn't. I kept trying to taste it and find it, and I couldn't. That was so bizarre to me, because goat smell is so strong, and it's mainly because of my buck. He is stinky, and I thought he wouldn't be as stinky because I've heard Nigerian dwarf. This is the breed. I heard that they're a little bit less fussy of a breed. They're one of the smaller milking ones. And but no, like, he is stinky, and they pee on themselves. He pees and poos in his I have these IBC totes, and so I cut these things out to make little houses for them. I got that from someone, and it was already a one and done thing, so that was kind of nice. There's the other house over there for the other pen. And anyway, it's getting a little cold out here, man. But this milking stand here, I put her in, and I was able to milk her, and we chilled the milk, and then we had some of it, and it only had the taste of being unpasteurized. So there's that certain taste about that of course then someone would have to get used to. But I was so pleasantly surprised by how creamy it was and how mild it was, and she just is a great milker. And I don't know if she's registered or not, and it's just so cool. Like, I feel confident knowing like that could be something that we could do, and it could help us if we need to have milk in my list of preps, as I'm trying to do, knowing like my family would love to have eggs if we really had to. My family would love to. Here's my dog. What is he doing? Hey, Jake. They would love to have they would love to have meat, you know, the bunny meat, and the milk. So anyway, as far as now with these babies, once they mate, so I'm gonna try and keep them in here for a day or two. And there's another white one over there. She's way over there. She'll be my first time mama, but I'm not gonna breed her until probably the later spring and summer. So, because she's just a little too little, and then it'll be nice to deal with these two mamas if they have babies. If they get pregnant, I hope it works out. He's been chasing them all day. I don't know if he's actually been able to do it. They just run away from every chance they can. But it'll be nice to take care of some mamas that aren't first timers, like freshener, I think it's what it's called. And so I'm just learning this whole process and becoming someone that's in animal husbandry. Like, I don't know how to do this, and it's just really interesting how it all works. But he's making a funny face over there because he really wants to do his deed. He's so funny. So another thing I'll explain and show you, what's been kind of really a cool experience for us, is getting a tractor. So such a blessing to get a tractor, and we just felt like it was time and we were ready. And I'll show you this thing here. So this is our shed. As part of getting the tractor, we needed to have the money then to put up the shed and cover it, because this is a nice tractor. And what's really nice too, I didn't really count on it, let my husband figure it out and see if there's enough room, but I'm really hoping I was able to maybe put some hay in here, and I think there is enough room right here. Yay. But the main thing is this guy. Isn't that awesome? I'm just so glad to have one for Brady now, and it's a good size. And then here are the implements and forklifts. This is a mower, so that'll take down our weeds over there. And then this is the tiller right now that you can actually till into the ground. And then, of course, that has the scooper thing. It's not necessarily a backhoe. We thought about doing that, but we thought that was a little too much for how often we use it. And then the box blade. So that just levels everything out too. So we're just so happy to have it. And look here, isn't that funny? The logo is a bulldog. And it is called a Bad Boy. It's the brand Bad Boy. So we're really glad to get this, and we've had to borrow tractors or rent them. So until now, we finally have this bad boy. And here's Tank. And what's funny about it is my husband doesn't like my dog. He's my dog. Tank is my dog. He does not like him. And he does tell him he's a bad boy. He's a bad boy. And sometimes he's kind of fussy. He does do things that kind of are annoying, but so that's what's exciting about that. And I am getting through, as I'll walk over, I'm getting through this stash of hay. I got a bunch of goat hay for these goats. I built that pasture, by the way. I'm giving myself a little bit of credit there. It took me a while to put in those posts and set that up and put on the clips and stuff. But anyway, so yeah, the pasture of them, after I did that, I got this big pile of hay here. This was at first like a lot bigger. I had about 34 bales of this goat hay is what they call it. And I am pretty sure it's Timothy. I kind of gotten used to knowing the difference between Timothy and alfalfa. And alfalfa is more like a curly, darker green, and Timothy is a little bit more medium green, flatter like blade. And they can do either one. But the reason this is goat hay is because, and I got it for $2 a bale. The reason being it's so cheap is because it was the guy said he cut it on a corner of his pasture that had a lot of weeds, so he couldn't sell it for the good price. And goats can eat anything, but you don't necessarily want them to. It'll give them tummy problems sometimes, or you'd have to ease them into it. Ooh, you could probably tell I'm cold, so I'm almost done, and then we'll be done with this tour. But I only have about 4 more bales of this, so it's perfect timing. We can put it over there and make that work for us. And then, yeah, and I think I showed you we got this shed at one point, and I'm really grateful to have it. It was free $99. It didn't cost anything. It was someone that had it in our area. It used to be a chicken coop. Those are like hatch boxes, but we just use it for a shed now with stuff. And it's kind of wacky. Like you have to use this thing to open it because the door thing isn't shutting quite right. A couple more things. So our chickens, they're so fun. Anyway, you've seen chickens. They're not that cool to some people, but I do love chickens. But what was cool about it this week was that we butchered a chicken. So that I did the rabbits about a month ago, 2 rabbits, and then we did our own chicken on Monday. Actually, I did it, and it was interesting. And it was actually the sister to him. So he's a rooster. I have 2 roosters, and she looked about like him. And she was big and chunky, and so she was born in May, so it was about time to have her. So she was about 7 months old, a little bit older. They say try not to go like 7 or 6 months or older. And then especially with those Cornish hens that people buy and eat and all that stuff, they're like 2 months old. So of course their meat is going to be so tender, but they're able to eat so quickly, and they're able to grow so quickly, and then you can eat them. And so that was interesting to do. She had a lot of fluff. It was pretty. It was tender. And I was a little bit worried, thinking, is my flock fat? She had so much fat, like just deposits of the yellow fat all over her. So it made me think, wow, maybe we are giving them too much scraps that just fatten them up. But they're pretty hardy. I've never had a chicken die. Like, I'm just so grateful. The chickens are so hardy. It gets so cold out here. They are good, and they have not died. And so last thing I wanted to say is just maybe a little bit more about this channel. I hope to do more this year. Kind of still the same thing. That's kind of my plan, but I'm just glad you're here. If you watch this far into it, I'm really grateful for you. Thank you for caring and being a part of this journey with my family and seeing what we're doing. Man, it's just so cool to be able to do my dream, and I'm so grateful. And it's been fun to teach my kids and have them come along, had them help me with the chicken, have them help me with the bunnies that we ate too, and help me with the goats. I had them see when we threw the buck in, the whole circle of life of what happens, how babies are made, things like that. So it's kind of fun. But it's not going to be anything spiritual today, just a little tour of my place and what we're doing here. And I will have more stories and things to do next week. One thing I'm going to be doing also to expand myself this year as a homesteader is I'm going to be taking, I'm so cold. I'm going to be taking a Master Gardener course. So through the extension program in our area, they do this Master Gardener program where people from the community can just come and learn, and they do 15 different classes once a week for 2 or 3 months, and then you put in about 40 hours of volunteer work. So you're learning from people who are experts in what they do, learning about shrubs, gardening, trees, soils. You're learning all the things. I really am going to get like a great education on it once a week and learn and put it into practice, and getting some help there to really understand what I'm doing. And I just figured I want to do this at one point in my life. I've heard about it for several years. I have had friends who have done it, and they've said they've loved it, and I thought, oh, I want to finally do it. And this year's the year, and finally making it work. So it's going to take some commitment, and I am going to go out of town for some of those times. So hi. So those are some of the things going on here. Thanks for listening and watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.